Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Irish Art Show, broadcast from the Scientology Community Centre. Tonight, we are delighted to welcome back singer, songwriter, musician, producer, peace activist, and Kerry man, Francie Conway. Francie's musical career started at the age of 14 when he played guitar and banjo. Since then, he's played music all over the world and recorded 6 albums. Wow, so far, that is, with more to come. Please welcome Francie Conway.
"800 years of occupation, we got over it. Our closest neighbors are our friends. A sad civil war tore our souls apart. The journey continues, today we live in peace. Our river keeps on flowing, we stand tall. Our river keeps on flowing, one for all. Our people have circled the globe, a welcome smile everywhere we go. We bring our poetry, our music, our song and dance. Our sportsmen and women light up today, pride in who we are all the way. Our river keeps on flowing, we stand tall. Our river keeps on flowing, one for all. Our gathering here in Firas welcomes you today. Let's celebrate our culture, our history, our island ways. We are a proud people, yes we are. We are a strong nation, yes we are. Our river keeps on flowing, we stand tall. Our river keeps on flowing, one for all. Our river keeps on flowing, we stand tall. Our river keeps on flowing, one for all. It's very nice to be back here again, and thank you so much, guys, for the invitation. I thought that song would be kind of an appropriate way to say thank you to you on behalf of all the musicians that you've been showcasing from the Irish music scene over since before COVID started on the Irish Arts Show. And yeah, thank you. This is a song, sometimes when we're recording songs, well, always actually, we go through the lyrics of the songs with the band and discuss what we're talking about in songs. And I recorded this song with Sier de Jong and Peter Lundgren in Gothenburg in Sweden some years ago. And I remember when I showed the guys the lyrics, and the chorus is like, "We'd just been hit by a hurricane, the third great war has just begun." And I remember the guys saying, "Francie, isn't that a little bit far-fetched?" And when you think about where we are today in 2024, you know, it's never been that unrealistic, absolutely crazy thing that, you know, something that's so stupid could happen again, and that we've, as nations, have learned nothing from the past. it seems the song seems to be as valid today as when I wrote it, and it sounded quite mad. I hope you're going to enjoy this. Been so down, living underground. Wait by the radio for things to change. Vinyl spins, time goes on by. Who says now, oh yeah, we got it made? Just being hit by a hurricane. The third great war, it has just begun. Blood now flows on most every street. No one can stop what has begun. It has begun. Mothers cry as fathers die. Sister waves her brother's last goodbye, and lovers dream, you know, we'll meet again beneath the stars, maybe a summer's night. We just been hit by a hurricane. The third great war, it has just begun. Blood now flows on most every street. No one can stop what has begun. What has begun. East and west, north and south, pressure builds, you know, more tension mounts. Radio man says, and the news says it's all around. No one can hide, not even underground. Just been hit by a hurricane. The third great war, it has just begun. Blood now flows on most every street. No one can stop what has begun. It has begun. You know, they say that you should never try out brand new songs before you record them. But I just wrote this a couple of weeks ago, so I'm just going to give it a shot. Thank you once again for the invitation to come here, and I always enjoy it. And thank you. This is a song called Love the Bones of You. Days always full of sunshine, full of laughter, no sense of time. Jump from one moment to the next, no fear of falling, we always had a net. Love the bones of you, love the bones of you, so much more every day. Love the bones of you, love the bones of you, what more can we say? Nights full of music and song, everyone always sang along. Your voice was heard loud and clear, songs of love, trains, outlaws and fears. Love the bones of you, love the bones of you, so much more every day. Love the bones of you, love the bones of you, what more can we say? The problems of the world mounting up, all ready to sort out. It's amazing how opinions change. Growing up, guess that's what it's all about. Love the bones of you, love the bones of you, so much more every day. Love the bones of you, love the bones of you, what more can we say? Love the bones of you, love the bones of you, so much more every day. Love the bones of you, love the bones of you, what more can we say?
Well, you know, I'm absolutely delighted to have Francie Conway back with us here at the Irish Art Show this evening. What a fantastic performance. And I have to say, I love the bones of you at the end there. Absolutely sold it for me. I love it. And we love the bones of him too. So we're delighted to welcome him here to the Irish Art Show this evening. Well, wow. Francie, thank you so much for making it to us here this evening.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely delighted. You're very, very welcome. I'm going to get straight into the interview. I would like to take you back to 6 years of age, dreaming of music, which led to working with David Richards, who played piano on the song Under Pressure with Freddie Mercury and David Bowie. I mean, talk about dreaming big. How did you end up meeting David Richards for this all to happen?
Well, David and I became friends in the 80s, the early 80s. I got an invitation to go to the Montreux Jazz Festival, and I was collected in Geneva where I was living at the time, and this was just before To the Edge of Time was released. So we were actually just bubbling, just everything was, we'd some radio hits, but we were still waiting for the big one, which arrived with To the Edge of Time. And Simon Phillips, the great drummer, Simon had been in London the night before with the Mike Oldfield band, and then we were waiting for him in Geneva, and then we all went down to Montreux, and it was an amazing experience at the Montreux Jazz Festival. And David and I were the same age, and we were both a bit messers, so we kind of ended up hanging out together and having beers together and everything, and we became friends at that stage, you know, never realizing the future that lay ahead for us all, you know.
What an incredible, you know, meeting, I suppose, that created an awful lot of really good.
Well, we became
things
friends, and then
for you
it was
guys.
like when we were actually doing a remix of To the Edge of Time after, because remember at that time it's not like now where a record comes out and it's in every country overnight, you know. I mean, you know, when you had a single out, you'd release it in Switzerland, then maybe it would be released in France a few weeks later, maybe Germany a few weeks later than that, maybe Benelux after that, then you go in Scandinavia. So basically, I mean, an album was like 3 years' work, realistically, doing the promotion and everything that went with it. And To the Edge of Time became such a big hit, they decided the record company wanted to do another mix of it so as to have different possibilities, you know, which is something very common now, but at that time it was all. So we went to Mountain Studio with David, Chris White from the Zombies and I, and John Woloff, and David was working on the mix, and I mean, it was very intense. The days were long, kind of thing, from 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 in the evening. And then it was like manna out from heaven. One afternoon, David Bowie came in to ask David Richards to start working with him. So I was absolutely delighted, you know, absolutely thrilled. And it wasn't that David had come to the studio, it was because I was going to get finished at about maybe 6:30 because the two lads were going for dinner. So, and, you know, that was the start of David Richards and Bowie together.
Incredible.
And, you know, and I suppose we were just there at the beginning of this this whole journey. And, you know, and then David, we continued our friendship. And then Freddie had been there with the band, with the lads from Queen before that. And then they wanted to work more closely with David. So, but rather than booking the time, Jim Beach, who some of you might know as Miami Beach, it was Freddie that christened him, Miami bought the studio with the condition that David would be there. And, you know, and I can remember like up in David's house when my daughter Emily was a baby and Mona, and when the girls were gone to bed, David's kids and his wife Colette, and we used to be listening to cassettes, and I remember out on the balcony one evening and a cassette of just voice and piano, and it was Freddie singing Friends Will Be Friends. And the two of us toasting some rosé over Lake Geneva, never realising the classics we were listening to.
Such great memories and good times to have had.
They were great crack, great times.
You were all definitely in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it was kind of like, do you know what I mean? It was, it just was, there was a buzz about creativity in music. And, you know, at that same time, I mean, AC/DC came to record, you know, and so David invited me to help out with the recording session. And that was great fun as well. I mean, they were great guys. And never realizing, like, you know, the way the circle of life goes on. And the youngs, like Angus was there, Malcolm, and Brian is a real character. I mean, they were great, you know, great fun guys. And never realizing that a couple of years later, I would get a call from a record company in Australia that Stevie Wright, the lead singer from the Easy Beats, the first international rock band to come out of Australia, had recorded one of my songs. I mean, I was a big fan of the Easy Beats, and that's where the Youngs came from. That was their family band, you could say. and suddenly now here I was with a title track of an album from the lead singer from their extended family band, their brother brought through and helped them with all their recordings, and it was just all these links that were going on at the time. It was really cool.
And had you done busking, which I didn't know you'd busked?
Oh, yeah.
Had you done busking before this all happened?
Oh, Jesus, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, like, kind of, I learned my trade the hard way. I mean, like, when I was living in Amsterdam, I remember, I'd go off on holidays, but I'd bring the guitar with me. And I'd busk for 2 hours during the day, and I'd always make good money. But I wasn't very good on the street because it was more like going into cafes and kind of going into places where people could hear me sing. And on one of those occasions, I met the great Don Partridge, who was the king of the buskers. Don had 2 number ones in the British charts with Blue Eyes and Rosie. And the night, Top of the Pops was recorded on a Wednesday, shown on a Thursday. And the night that Don was number 1 on the top of the Pops, he actually busked the Cinema Queue in Leicester Square. And then, of course, I met Alistair Campbell there, and we became the Alistair Campbell.
Yes.
And we became friends. And Alistair was a very shrewd busker. Alistair used to check the newspaper, what cinema queues there would be good crowds at. He knew the cafes where I could sing, and we'd only maybe busk for an hour in the evening, and then we'd divvy out the money, and then we'd have a party. I mean, it was like...
I'm just looking at all the, listening to the names and even more names here, songwriting with Ronnie Drew and Finbar Fury. You just worked with so many people.
Yeah, but you see, not by plan. I mean, if I was to plan anything, it wouldn't happen. I mean, like, I never planned anything in my life. Do you know what I mean? I've just gone from one moment to the next.
Yeah.
No fear of falling, always had a net. Actually, that's a line from the Love the Bones of You.
That's
So
a great line, isn't it? I'm just thinking, the way it's Eurovision time at the moment, coming up. I know you have a story about a good friend of mine as well, Shay Healy, and I'd love you to share it with the Irish Art Show viewers, because it's quite the story, all right.
Yeah, I mean, people think like, Eurovision is big, and it's got its following. But I mean, I was living in Holland at the time when Johnny, they won with What's Another Year. And I was doing a gig in a place called Scheveningen. I'm not pronouncing that exactly right. That was the name of a town that in the Second World War, the Dutch underground used to, because the Germans were infiltrating, but they could never pronounce Scheveningen. But I was doing a gig in Scheveningen, and a friend of mine arrived, and a guy from Tralee called Mossy Stack. And Mossy said, I met a friend of yours last night, Mick O'Hagan. His brother Johnny is singing in the Eurovision tonight with a song by Shay Healy. And he said, I think you know Shay. And I said, yeah. And I said, where's this on? And he said, it's on in Den Haag. So after the gig, we were driving to Den Haag, listening to the radio. Ireland were winning. I was saying, come on, Mossy, put down the boot. And he said, they said the Bel Air Hotel. Remember now, there wasn't like sat-navs that you could just go in.
Yeah.
So Mossy said, I have an idea where the Bel Air Hotel is. And so we got there and we just got in. I mean, Ireland had won, and this became party central for everybody, And it was the most amazing night. And, the music was there. I ended up taking out the guitar. Colin Tuohy, who played saxophone on the tune. Colin was a great piano player. I don't know if you knew him or not.
No.
We had the 3 girls from the Turkish backing singing with us. I mean, it was just fun. But after the thing, we nearly lost Shay because he couldn't believe that he'd won. And he went out from the Concertgebouw, and he went out just to get a bit of fresh air. And he never realised the cars were coming at the wrong side of the road, and he nearly got hit. He nearly got knocked down. So it was like he came back in totally rattled.
Well, that would have been a whole different story altogether.
A total different story. And of course, Johnny was being pulled left, right, and centre by people, and here was she. You're not going to believe what happened. You know, it was a scream. You know.
I have to say, what an incredible night for Ireland it was.
You know.
Yeah, and for you to be there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I remember kind of in the hotel in the Bel Air. I remember asking Colin, I think it was, what room number he was in, and he said he was in something like 107 or something like that. And I remember we partied all night, and then before going back to Amsterdam, I kind of just went down to the dining area and they said, room number, sir? I said, 107. I went in, had a lovely breakfast, and then headed off to Amsterdam. So I never found out after if Colin got his breakfast or not.
He got nothing there. I'm joking. I'm joking. I have to say, definitely Johnny Logan has made us.
He's a great singer.
Fantastic.
And his brother Mick,
Mick
who just sadly passed away, was an incredible singer.
Yeah, we all loved him.
And great guys.
Yeah.
And when I was in Australia, when I was a member of the Furies, I actually met his dad and his sister there as well.
Well, he's done us proud in the Eurovision, that's for sure.
Ah, fantastic.
All over those years.
Fantastic.
He's a fantastic performer. I'd just like to bring you back, because actually your biggest hit on Spotify is Somewhere in Heaven, which is a beautiful title. But you actually sang this with Christy Dignam.
Oh yeah, Christy was great friends.
Christy,
we were great friends, yeah.
What a
yeah.
Another talent.
Yeah, it's something I'm still not come to terms
Processing,
with, that is, because
Yeah.
we used to have our chats every weekend, and I really miss it. Yeah, he was a class act.
I just thought
Great
I'd
guy.
mention it, that
Yeah.
seen as, he's part of your history.
Yeah, we became friends, and kind of when Christy was unwell, and then he got her reprieve, and Finbar Fury and my son Rory and I went up to visit Christy, and we brought the instruments with us, and we knew that Christy was feeling very poorly, and then Catherine had told us when we were there that the only other Irish musicians that had been there to visit was Bono and Edge, and those two lads are class as well.
Amazing.
And so we ended up the old-fashioned being in the sitting room, tea and biscuits, and singing a few songs, and it was just a gorgeous afternoon. And it was after that Finbar said to me, he said, what do you think about us doing a record with Christy, just to kind of mark it, just to, mark the occasion? And I said, I don't know, what have you got in mind? He said, Somewhere in Heaven, because the Furies had recorded that.
Yeah.
And a few other bands had recorded it as well. And I was thinking, yeah, it could work. And it certainly did. It certainly did. I mean, Christy's vocal on it was fantastic,
I didn't know him myself, but I met him a few times over the years. Well, he was always a lovely guy and always willing to speak to anyone. And
absolute dote.
He was definitely a superb talent.
The first time when we went to record the vocal, it didn't happen for Christy. He wasn't in, because with the treatment was knocking a lot out of him. And then the second time, we said we'd try and go into the studio, and we were in the car, and Stephen and we were all sitting there kind of thing. We pulled up outside Christy's house. It was raining that evening. And I saw Christy in the porch with Catherine, and he had the black leathers on. I could see all the chains on, and I knew this guy is ready to rock. Now, we're on tonight.
Sometimes when you put on your stage outfit, if that makes sense,
it was, yeah.
That you become that person,
And he was Christy. Do you know what I mean? And then I got out of the car, and I went into the driveway, and the two of us were hugging each other. And then we were on our way to the studio, and Christy went, oh no. And we were immediately, are you okay, Christy? Are you okay? He said, oh my God, what are the neighbours going to say again? Another rocker coming in with big leather jackets on and us hugging in the driveway.
Fantastic.
And I'm so glad we did it. And we actually have a recording of the two of us live from RT that hasn't been released yet. So we might give it to for Daffodil Day next year.
Yeah, you'll definitely have to release that.
You know.
And you know, I want to take you back a little bit because we're actually running out of time. The fact that you took, you know, well, not that you were 14 years away from music, because Rory, obviously your wonderful son, got very sick, and you had to take time out and mind him with the whole family. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was an awful time.
Yeah.
I was on tour I think I was in Scandinavia, and got word that Rory was really unwell, and it was meningitis, and then the fluid went to his brain, and he ended up having loads of surgery, and he was in a coma for months, and we were told on 5 occasions that it was over, and that there was no hope, and we kept believing. Mona was incredible. My kids were incredible. My friends were incredible support. But we kept believing that this could happen, and it did actually. He did come true.
He did.
He did, and
I'd say, but all the love and care that you were 24 hours with him.
Yeah, and the strange thing about it was like,
to him.
I mean, we constantly kept playing music to him, but I mean, before he got sick, he was driving everybody at home totally crazy, and he would put on Queen's "We Will Rock You," you know, and it was driving everybody mad. I mean, he put it on 12 times, 14 times a day, and then when he was in the coma, they say that people can hear things, so I kept music going that we would have had playing in the house. And then every now and again I'd put on "We Will Rock You." And then we were a couple of months into it, and I put it on one day, and his face changed. Contact had been made, and that was with the lads. And I called the consultant, and she said, no, she said, "Mr. Conway, we've told you what the prognosis is." And I said, you know, but it took them maybe 2-3 days before they all arrived. And then when we they were all standing around the bed, and I was put on a couple of tracks, and they said, "Is this a game, Mr. Conway?" And then I put on "We Will Rock You," and they could see his face changing. And then they pushed me out of the way, and they took over, you know.
Fantastic.
And it was you know, and then the summer after that, Tom Torsch, a friend from a studio in Switzerland, invited us to go on holidays to take a month's break in Switzerland. So the day we were leaving, we cut some flowers. Mona cut some flowers from our garden to go via Montreux to leave the flowers at Freddie's statue to say thank you for the song and for helping make contact with Rory. Yeah, and little did we imagine that some couple of years later, that Rory would be sitting in Queen's studio with David Richards.
That's just, isn't
and
it?
I mean, if you look at the circle of life,
yes,
you know, and I mean, he always comes everywhere with me. And I remember saying, "Rory, I'm going to get a couple of beers before they close," kind of thing. So for later on in the studio, "Do you want to come with me?" "No, Dad, I'm very happy here with David." And the two lads were it was great moment, you know.
Lovely moment.
Yeah.
So what's next for Francie?
We're actually recording a new album at the moment.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It was originally meant to be 10 songs, but it's gone up to 12 songs now, and it's stopping at that. The album is called "It's Not Rocket Science," and the hook is "It's Just Rock and Roll."
That's a great title.
And yeah, so
is that the title?
The title of the album is
Yeah,
"It's
I
Not
love that.
Rocket Science," and
It's
the
just
song
rock and
is
roll.
"It's Just Rock and
Even
Roll."
putting the two together work really well.
It's really it works really good. We have a great collection of songs. I have some great guys that were with me in the college in Dublin here, where I'm part of the. I'm one of the co-founder members of the Rock School in Ballyfermot, and we've got some guys who were there who are young, incredible. James Peppard, Chris. We've got these guys who've got so much energy. They're discovering all the incredible things about music at the moment. Great players, and I have Matt Callaghan from Moving Hearts with me. and then I've all the guys from the Zombies, Chris and Viv in London, Dom Torsch in Switzerland, Sierra de Jong in Amsterdam. A guitar player I played with when I was a kid, really rock guitar player called Brendan Williams. So we're all kind of, and it's sounding really good.
Well, we look forward to hearing it. You'll have to come back and share a few of the tracks with us when you're.
Well, it's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science.
It's just rock and roll.
Thanks so much. Well, you're so rock and roll. Thank you so much for a wonderful interview, for coming along, a fantastic performance. It's always a pleasure. May you always be blessed.
Thank you.
And may Mona and all the family be blessed as well.
Thank you.
We're delighted to have you here at the Irish Hour. So thank you so much for coming along. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Wow, what a fantastic interview. Thank you so much, Francie. We're delighted to have him here this evening. I'm sure you've had a wonderful time at home listening to his stories and his performance. Thank you so much, everybody. On behalf of myself, Angel, and all the crew here, we'll see you all again next week. Thank you so much. Good night. Thank you.